AMD is an extremely important position for me. I've been banging my hand on the table for the last 9 months or so on AMD stock, right? Incredible opportunity, one of the best opportunities I've seen in the market, certainly in 2025 at least, okay? I'll say it like that. And this is a very important position for me, now sitting on a $646,000 position in the public count. This is one of my biggest private portfolios. I have $505,000 of AMD in that private portfolio, so about $500,000 there, sitting on $302,000 of gains. So add up those together and we're approaching $700,000 of gains, right? And then not only that, my Patreon, remember that's different than my private stock group, but my Patreon, that's usually for newer folks, the market, don't have much money invested yet, things like that, right? My Patreon's very popular, but I think I got the 6th most popular financial related Patreon in the world now at this point in time. That's the biggest position for me in the Patreon portfolio at a 16.6% weighting. It is now my 4th best performing stock as on a percentage basis. The only stocks beating that are SoFi, Shopify, and Palantir. So it's very important stock to me. I've got big money in my private portfolios. I've got big money in the public account, which is available for everybody in my private stock group to see every move I make. And it's my biggest position in the Patreon portfolio. So AMD matters significantly to me, right? Now, what stock am I showing you right now? I'm showing you a stock back from 2015, 2016. What do we find with this stock? This was a $1 to $2 stock. What stock was that? That was $1 to $2 10 years ago. The one you're looking at, AMD. Yes, that is how bad it was at AMD. Listen, you go in the gulag. The gulag's a stock that goes under $5. That's basically the market saying, it's not looking good for you. You go down to $2, $1, you become a $2 chuck. You go under $2 chuck, they're basically saying you're done. You're going bankrupt. You're going to zero. Robert De Niro, last action hero. You're Dunsky, right? And then what happened? Lisa Su pulls off the miracle of miracles, completely pivots the business, and now AMD, I believe today crossed around a $400 billion market cap or something like that, right? Incredible. And AMD is likely on its way to becoming a $1 trillion plus company. And think about this. This was a company 10 years ago that was on the verge of bankruptcy, ladies and gentlemen. Bankruptcy. To now the company at the center of the universe. Have the tides changed? Unbelievable. So, the reason I point this out to you is you got to understand Lisa Su has pivoted the business before and got them on the right trajectory for growth. And I'm about to take you through the pieces of how Lisa Su has now pivoted the business again and put them on the right track for exponential growth for the next number of years. This dates all the way back to 2022 to put these pieces in place. In 2022, they finished up the acquisition of Xilinx. Now, Xilinx was very important for AMD, not just from the product side, and it's a the big revenue company, a big growth company, and the margins and the profitability and those sorts of things, right? All the financial things you would get from an acquisition like that. And if I recall, it was like a $50 billion acquisition. But Xilinx had one of the most respected teams of engineers and folks working for that company of just about anybody in the space. So when AMD made that acquisition, it wasn't just about a product, a service. It was about a team that could develop many new products and services and help AMD push growth forward in many years to go in the future, right? So when that deal closed at 2022, that wasn't even really the start of it. Like a lot of the products and services you're going to see now and over the next few years, a lot of the top players at Xilinx had a hand in that. So that's something important to keep in mind. In 2024, they make another acquisition that's extremely important to put AMD in a position to really battle Nvidia in 26 and beyond. And that was the acquisition of ZT Systems. You could not compete with Nvidia the way Nvidia is competing in regards to being a one solution. We're going to take care of everything for you. You couldn't really do that without making that acquisition, in my opinion, of ZT Systems and getting that team there as well. This really put AMD in a position to really battle Nvidia for the next 5-10 years. And remember, a lot of people already want to say Nvidia won the war. Nvidia's won the battle, but this is a war that's going to go on for the next 10 years. This isn't like, this is just whoever won in 2025 is whoever won. No. This is going to be a 10-year battle between Nvidia and AMD, right? Like this is a long-term thing. And these are two companies with very different strategies. And we're going to find out who's going to have the best strategy in the end in regards to this matter, right? Now, another acquisition, I think this is such an important acquisition that people didn't talk about this. This was like so on the DL. And this was an acquisition that went through last summer. And I think it's extremely important to where AMD is going in the future. AMD completes acquisition of Silo AI to accelerate development and deployment of AI models on AMD hardware. Very important. This Silo AI company, this was the largest private AI lab in Europe. The largest private AI lab in Europe. End-to-end AI solutions based on open standards. We know AMD's really trying to go with the open approach. Very different than Nvidia. Nvidia's trying to be more walled garden. Nvidia's trying to be more Apple-esque. And AMD's over here saying, you guys can do that, but we're going to go after the big market share long term. Remember, Android has, 80% plus market share? That didn't mean Apple was a bad company or bad investment. They just had a different approach. And Google went with a different approach, right? And so when you look at Nvidia and you look at AMD, understand these two companies are going with different approaches in the marketplace. And Nvidia is going more of an Apple type approach, and they can still be phenomenal and very successful with that. AMD is going a little bit more of an Android approach, a Google type approach, and understand they can be extremely successful with that as well. And it's a potential that AMD long term could end up with even more market share than Nvidia. And AMD could eat in that market share significantly over the next 5 to 10 years. Remember, this is not just a 1-2 year battle. This is going to be a war that's fought for a long time. Now, additionally, you see something like this. This just came out 12 hours ago. AMD reportedly establishes $280 million silicon photonics hub. I'm not the best at pronouncing certain words, okay? In Taiwan, new R&D center could accelerate company's co-packaged optics roadmap. Continue to push forward. They've done 3 acquisitions over the summer. This InnoSemi, Brium, Untethered AI, all these little acquisitions that no one really talks about, but Lisa Su's not just doing these for the fun of it. There's specific people working at those companies. There's specific services and products and strategies that she wants to implement into AMD that's going to help AMD over the next 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years. It's not just about, can you do for us in 2025? It's about getting these teams to work at AMD and getting those incredible, talented individuals to come up with game-changing products and services that we'll see 3 years from now, 5 years from now, things like that, right? Now, additionally, AMD, listen, they are at the center of the universe, making relationships and partnering with the best companies in the world that you would want to be partnering with, right? Look at something like this. 2 big techs combined. IBM and AMD team up to develop hybrid quantum-centric supercomputing. Very, very exciting. The center of the universe for the whole AI wave has been what company? OpenAI. ChatGPT launches, that takes off, and that changes everything forever in regards to AI, right? And that changes NVIDIA's roadmap, that changes AMD's roadmap, all those sorts of things, right? AMD and OpenAI announced strategic partnership to deploy 6 gigawatts of AMD GPUs. I mean, this is just a ridiculously huge deal in regards to AMD and what this means for AMD's revenues moving forward. But what this does for AMD's brand is more important than anything. You got OpenAI saying, we want your products and services. We want to have a very close relationship with you. They've worked, from my understanding, they've worked like this on the 400 series together, right? That's basically saying, if the company that is seen as a leader in AI is saying, we're going all in, AMD, why would you not? Everybody else has to fall in line in that situation. If you're the leader in the world in AI saying, we're going this route, everybody else says, dang, AMD's got it like that, right? But AMD serves a very important purpose to all these big tech companies. It's not just about the great technological advantages AMD products can give you. It's about undercutting NVIDIA's pricing and ultimately being able to keep NVIDIA at bay with their pricing. Because if NVIDIA has no competition, NVIDIA can charge whatever they want. And they've been able to push their net income margins to levels that we've never seen in history. That we're like, what? This is making even companies like Google and Meta look like they're not that profitable, right? And that's something else when you can do that. Because NVIDIA has been able to stand there and say, you pay us ridiculous money and we'll sell you this thing. Don't pay it, you got nowhere else to go. That has all changed now at this point in time. The 355 series is out there in production, and the 400 series, that's the first, I think, real product that competes head on with NVIDIA's top of the line. And so now, NVIDIA no longer in 26 and moving forward is going to be able to say, we're just going to charge whatever we want to charge, because now they actually got competition. So AMD is a very important chess piece in regards to this whole AI game that's going to play out over the next decade. Keep that in mind. Like, I would call AMD, if we can call NVIDIA the king piece, AMD is the queen in regards to this, because they're important they're actually much more important than the king, because they're the ones that they're the ones that can make this whole thing work. If NVIDIA is able to just charge whatever price they want to these companies, the companies are eventually going to run out of money, where they're not going to be in a situation where they could even invest into the chips they really need to make their products and services in the future. That's why I call AMD really the queen piece of this whole chess set. And the deeper you go on this little rabbit hole, the more you realize, oh my gosh, like OpenAI needs AMD to succeed massively. Meta needs them to succeed. Google needs them to succeed. Tesla needs them to succeed. Elon Musk, everybody needs AMD to succeed. Otherwise, likely you won't be able to put out the products and services you want, because NVIDIA is just standing there like, we want to charge $100,000 for this super advanced chip. Pay us $100,000. What are you going to do if you got nowhere else to go? You got to pay it, right? Now, additionally, AMD and Oracle are expanding their partnership to provide more hardware for the Oracle Infrastructure Cloud. Oracle will deploy AI supercluster with 50,000 AMD Instinct MI450 series GPUs, with deployments beginning in the third quarter of 2026 and expanding into 2027. This deal builds on the existing collaboration, which includes the use of AMD's Instinct MI300X and then the 355 series, which just went into production very recently. But we can tell everybody wants a 450 series, which means very good things for AMD's not only revenues starting next year and specifically the back half of the year, but ultimately the margins as well. Because AMD's got a big kind of middle room where they can increase prices significantly on this 450 series versus the 350 series if they want, but still undercut Nvidia. That's a beautiful thing, and that's why I tell you guys, Nvidia is AMD's best friend. AMD is Nvidia's worst enemy. There's a big difference. Big difference in regards to this whole situation, right? And Jensen doesn't like what's going on here. I could tell the way he was speaking about that OpenAI deal and AMD giving part of their company after Nvidia just invested money into OpenAI, and then all of a sudden OpenAI is like, we're going to buy all these Nvidia. Jensen doesn't like this.
Hey, it's Jeremy. I hope you really enjoyed watching that clip here today. What you're looking at in front of you right there, that's 1000xstocks.com. That's my advanced software that I've been working in the background creating for a long time. This software is so much more advanced than what others are presenting out there in the market. And as somebody that's been in the market 15 years, I want to create something that was simple, that had exactly everything I needed to make my judgments on companies, such as forward P ratios, 2-year out forward P ratios, price to sales ratios, forward price to sales ratios. I wanted the ability to be able to compare different companies versus each other. I wanted to be able to compare a Meta versus a Google versus an Apple and be able to see all those different metrics laid out all next to each other. I wanted a service that I could listen to conference calls right through and even be able to toggle and adjust the speed I wanted to listen to those conference calls. I wanted a service that I could search SEC filings right through. I wanted the ability to do that all in one service, and that is exactly what I've created with 1000xstocks.com. If you want to apply for access to this, go to the description area of this video. You can click that link and go ahead and apply for access to this. If you don't want to do that, you can go to 1000xstocks.com. Enjoy.
Next up here, Google, McDougal. Then we'll get into Fubo. Then we'll get into 2 stocks I bought, $7,000 a piece. I put in those today. Then we'll get into Palantirs. Google McDougal, B+ income statement here. Revenues went to $102 billion from $88 billion. Very nice revenue growth from Google. Like, a lot of people thought Google wouldn't even be able to grow double digits. Now they're growing at mid double digits revenue. Very impressive, Google McDougal. Cost of revenues went to $41.3 billion from $36.4 billion. R&D also a little bit of an issue for Google. So these companies are spending, their spending's getting close to like a little out of hand, right? R&D $15 billion from $12.4 billion. G&A also an issue for Google McDougal, $7.3 billion from $3.5 billion. Total costs and expenses went up to $71 billion from $59.7 billion. Income from operations went to $31.2 billion from $28.5 billion. If we look at income before income taxes, because they had a big like other income here, it's kind of more of a one-off situation. $43 billion versus $31 billion. Net income almost $35 billion versus $26 billion same quarter last year. But once again, that big kind of one-off really helped there. The income from operations increase wasn't nearly as impressive as you would have expected, right? Because basically 10%, if their income from operations was up 10%, that would be $2.8 billion. And that's roughly what they were up there, right? So we can call it income from operations look like it didn't even grow as fast as revenues grow. So that's why I graded them a B plus and not like into the A grades, right? So that's Google McDougal here. Now, the important thing to understand about Google is they're actually accelerating growth quarter after quarter after quarter right now, right? Look at this. They went from 11% revenue growth to 12% to 13%. In this latest quarter, 16% revenue growth. Bravo to Google McDougal on continuing to accelerate growth. Like I said, the whole story about, Google's dead, they're done, like AI disruption, like that was the talk. I mean, it's that talk started in 2023 and was really ferocious for Google in 2024 and into the beginning of this year. And at the end of the day, like, look at the numbers. The numbers are phenomenal. And keep in mind, this quarter, they just put up that 16% growth. That was coming off of last year's quarter. They grew revenue 15%. Very impressive. Google McDougal, they're doing a dang good job here, right? Now, as far as what are my bull case, base case, bear case for Google stock, well, my bull case has them, guess what? Growing revenue at less than what they just grew revenue at. 16% is what they just grew revenue at. I am at 14% per year over the next 4 years, right? I am at a 16% net income growth, so getting a little leverage there, right? 33% net income margins come 2029. 27 to 32 P would be very fair for a company growing. We can call it mid-teens revenue, mid-teens net income. 27 to 32 is very fair. That gives me about a 16 to 21% CAGR here for Google. Now, my base case has 12% revenues on average. This is what I actually expect to happen. 14% net income growth on average. 24 to 29 PE. 10% to 16% CAGR. Here's the thing with Google, okay? It's a good buy right now. But you're going to make way more money in Meta likely over the next 4 years. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, Google, good buy. More money's to be made in Meta. Like, these companies are very similar in terms of how people view them. So at the end of the day, like, do you want to make more money or less money? You want to make more money over the next 4 years? Buy Meta. You want to make less money but still good money? Buy Google. It's up to you, right? Bear case for Meta here, or for Google here, 7% revenue growth on average, 8% net income growth on average, 20 to 25 PE, and basically we get a flat return to maybe slight growth. So the bottom line is, if things are bullish, I'm going to make more money in Meta. If things happen like I expect them to happen, I'm going to make more money in Meta than Google. And bear case, same exact thing. And that's why I have, $1 million plus in Meta stock, and I only have $100-something thousand in Google stock. Because at the end of the day, like, Meta's just going to be a way bigger moneymaker 2026 to 2029. And I don't even think there's really a debate about that, right? And remember, like, we're talking about Meta just grew revenues 26%. Google grew revenue 16%. 16% is very impressive. Like, how many companies are growing revenue 16%? Especially that are large companies. Very few. It shouldn't be like shunned. It should be appreciated. But they're getting whooped. Absolutely obliterated by Meta. Like, Meta 26, we're talking 1,000 basis points of revenue growth on Meta versus Google. Like, that's, incredible. Absolutely incredible. Next up here, Fubo. What's going on with Fubo? Where's that stock headed? Then we'll talk about some stocks I bought here today, and then Palantir, okay? So, the best news of the best news you could have gotten in regards to Fubo happened today. Disney closes deal merging Hulu Live TV with Fubo. This was a long anticipated deal. Took a while for it to finally get through the government and everything and all the loops there. Disney and Fubo announced closing of their deal, merging Hulu Live TV operations with Fubo, with Disney owning 70% stake in the new company. The newly combined Fubo and Hulu Plus Live TV business creates the second largest virtual pay TV provider in the United States, with nearly 6 million subscribers in North America. That trails only Google's YouTube TV, which has an estimated more than 10 million paying subs, which is currently involved with carriage renewal fight with Disney, which is interesting. And man, you want to talk about making YouTube TV irrelevant, especially to sports fans? Take away ESPN. Ooh, boy. You want to see all of a sudden people flooding out of YouTube TV? Because remember, a huge component of the reason people are willing to pay for YouTube TV, Fubo, anything else like Hulu Plus Live TV, it's because of sports. Sports is huge, okay? Now, obviously they should figure out a deal there. Like, I don't think, ESPN wants to lose access to YouTube TV, but I'm just saying, they got a lot to stand on there. Disney and Fubo received clearance from the Justice Department's Antitrust Division to complete the transaction, according to two sources familiar with the matter. As part of the deal, Fubo Advertising Sales Group will move over to Disney's advertising sales organization. That could be a huge cost savings and could also mean a lot better ads for Fubo moving forward. The companies emphasize that Fubo and Hulu Plus Live TV will continue to be available to consumers as separate and distinct services, each offering consumers multiple plan options from skinny to robust at compelling price points. In addition, Hulu Plus Live TV will continue to be streamed in the Hulu app and offered as part of the bundle with Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN Unlimited. Okay, very intriguing. The new company offers consumers more than 55,000 live sporting events and entertainment-focused programming offerings from Fubo and Hulu Plus Live TV. Remember, Fubo, the big reason you sign up for Fubo is sports, right? Like, I have Fubo personally. I've had Fubo for years, and it's a huge thing for sports, especially me because I like college football a lot, and Fubo allows you to watch 4 games all at once, choose whatever games you want. They've got just about everything you could possibly imagine in Fubo when it comes to college football and things like that. So sports fans, it's big with Fubo, right? As a deal closing, Disney holds approximately 70% interest in the newly combined company, with existing Fubo shareholders holding an approximate 30% interest. That's people like me, and if anybody else owns Fubo out there, you. The combined company will have access to a $145 million term loan that Disney has committed to provide Fubo in 2026 as part of the transaction. According to the companies, the merged Hulu Plus Live TV and Fubo business expects to realize cost, revenue, and operational synergies through content cost savings achieved by the more flexible programming packages, advertising optimization, and sales and marketing opportunities. So the moral of the story is cost basis, if anything, should come down significantly as a percent, right? Which means a lot more profitability. And Disney's very incentivized to have this service be, let's call it, very successful. And Disney owns a lot of assets, including they own ESPN, right? And guess what? ESPN now owns part of, or did they buy out NFL Network? I'm trying to remember. Did they buy NFL Network? Or did they buy part of NFL Network? And then if I recall, also ESPN now owns part of the NFL. They're now tied in with everybody. Like the tie-ins are like everything, right? Like Disney's played a masterful game of trying to control sports as much as possible, right? In terms of like controlling the content around that, right? And also you got to remember Disney's kind of at war with Google, right? And the reason being is, like, think about advertisers, right? They're both advertising giants, so they got to kind of fight over that. But also remember, like, if YouTube TV and Google's too successful, Google could buy a lot of exclusive rights over time. Like, for instance, a good example of this is the purchase of Sunday Ticket, right? And they purchased that out. They added that inside, exclusive deal there with their YouTube TV product. So keep in mind, Google's got a lot of money to spend. If they wanted to buy out certain NFL rights and only have those games on YouTube TV, they could, right? Same thing with basketball rights, baseball, Formula One, all these different things. So Disney has to fight off all these big dog tech companies that are competing. Amazon obviously has Thursday Night Football now. So it's a big battle there, right? And Disney's got to fight hard here. And so Disney's very incentivized to have this entity be as successful as possible. They're going to get more control there, right? And they don't want YouTube TV to be too successful at the end of the day, because that gives Google even more power to buy out more content rights over time, have exclusive programming on YouTube or through YouTube TV, all that good stuff, right? No, people were mad of the stock basically today because the stock didn't make a big move. And like, come on, man, like we got the big announcement. First off, okay, this had been rumored on X for days now at this point in time. So it wasn't like this was some like no one saw this coming, and everybody pretty much knew the deal was going to go through. Like it was just a matter of time, right? And there was already rumors circulating all over X that this deal was going to go through this week, right? And so people bought call options thinking like Fubo stock was going to go to the moon and it was going to go $5, $6, $7, right? And you know, it's $3.69 here today. And so, you know, people that were speculating on calls. Listen, I saw the rumors out there as well this week that the deal was likely going to go through. Did you see me buy one call option contract on Fubo this week? Because I'm like, oh shoot, the rumors are out there, the deal's going to go through this week. No, it's ridiculous. Like I don't need to play gambling games, man. We're going to focus on the long here. We're going to focus on the big opportunity that Fubo has ahead. If Fubo is successful, it should be a $10, $20, $30, $40, $50 stock long term, right? And so I don't need to risk a bunch of my capital playing, oh, the deal might go through this week and the stock's going to spike 30%. I'm not going to play that game, man. I'm not going to play that game. It's just too much stress, too much distraction. It kills your wealth if it doesn't play out that way, right? For something that, like, everybody knew the deal was going to go through. The big move happened when this whole announcement came out, which was, what, over a year ago now at this point in time? Fubo at that time was $1 something. If you were in the know at that time and, you know, you made game-changing money, obviously, in the stock, right? But this, like, everybody knew that it was just a matter of time. And then the rumor had already, like, everybody that is aware of Fubo stock already heard that rumor on X days ago. So, you know, to think, oh, it's going to come out now and, like, the stock's going to go $5, like, you know, come on, man.